A billionaire watched security footage of a homeless boy dancing for his paralyzed daughter. He reached for his phone to call security. But when he zoomed in on the boy's left shoulder, his hand froze. The phone slipped from his grip and shattered on the marble floor. Because the boy had a birthmark. The exact same birthmark. In the exact same place. As his son, who vanished 7 years ago. What happened next would unravel a conspiracy that stretched from the streets of Madrid to the highest corridors of power. Rafael Moreno didn't just build his fortune. He seized it with both hands after losing everything that mattered. 7 years ago, he was a different man. Softer. He smiled more. He had a wife named Isabel, a daughter named Catalina, and a son named Mateo. They lived in a comfortable apartment in the Salamanca district, well off but not extravagant. Rafael ran a small logistics company with 3 warehouses and big dreams. Then came the night that split his life in two. The kidnapping was professional. Too professional. They took Mateo from his bedroom while the family slept. No broken windows. No alarms. Just gone. The ransom note demanded 500,000 euros. Money Rafael didn't have. He sold everything. The apartment. The cars. He borrowed from loan sharks who charged interest that would cripple most men. He gathered 350,000 euros. It wasn't enough. They sent him Mateo's school shoe. Just one. With a message, find the rest or you'll never find him. Rafael went to the police. They shrugged. We'll do what we can. Which meant nothing. He hired private investigators who drained his savings and produced no leads. Isabel couldn't bear it. She looked at Catalina and saw Mateo. She looked at Rafael and saw failure. Within a year, she was gone. Not dead. Just gone. She left a note, no puedo vivir en este cementerio de esperanza. I can't live in this cemetery of hope. Rafael changed. The softness calcified into diamond-hard resolve. He rebuilt his company with ruthless efficiency, working 20-hour days. He expanded aggressively, taking risks that paid off spectacularly. Within 5 years, he controlled the largest private logistics operation in Spain. Within 7, he was a billionaire. But he never stopped searching. Every street child he saw made him look twice. Every beggar boy became a possibility. He funded 3 children's homes, not from kindness, but from desperate hope. Maybe, just maybe, Mateo was in one of them. His daughter Catalina suffered differently. The accident happened 2 years after Mateo vanished. She was crossing the street in Retiro Park, distracted by grief, when the delivery van ran the red light. Her spine didn't break. It compressed. C5, C6 vertebrae. Incomplete injury. The doctors said she might walk again with therapy. But therapy required hope, and Catalina's hope had died with her brother. Now, at 15, she sat in her wheelchair like a queen in exile. Beautiful, brilliant, and utterly unreachable. She hadn't smiled in 3 years. Not once. Rafael had photographs to prove it. Rafael first saw him on the security monitors in his study. A thin figure, maybe 13 or 14, slipping through a gap in the perimeter fence near the old olive tree. Most trespassers came with intent, thieves, desperate people, sometimes reporters. This boy came with nothing but torn shorts and a peculiar lightness in his step. Catalina was in the garden. She sat where she always sat, under the wisteria arbor, staring at nothing with that terrible empty expression. Her nurse, Senora Vega, was inside fetching lunch. The boy froze when he saw Catalina. For a long moment, he just stood there, half hidden behind the fountain. Then he did something extraordinary. He started to dance. Not street begging dance. Not the aggressive, demanding performance Rafael had seen 1,000 times at traffic lights. This was different. This was storytelling. His body became a bird, arms spreading, head tilting, feet lifting in delicate steps. Then a snake, sinuous and low. Then something Rafael couldn't name, maybe wind, maybe water, maybe pure joy taking physical form. And Catalina moved. Not her legs. Her face. The ice cracked. Her eyes focused. Her lips parted. Then she laughed. It wasn't much. A small sound, barely audible. But Raphael heard it through the security speakers, and it detonated in his chest like a grenade. He was halfway down the stairs before he realized he was moving. Raphael burst into the garden, expecting to see a threat. Instead, he saw his daughter with tears streaming down her face, not from sadness, but from laughter so intense she was shaking. The boy had fallen deliberately into the koi pond and was pretending to be attacked by fish the size of his thumb, flailing and sputtering with exaggerated terror. "Papa." Catalina's voice cracked from disuse. "Did you see? Did you see?" Raphael stopped. For the first time in years, he didn't know what to do. The boy climbed out of the pond, dripping, grinning. Then he saw Raphael's face and the grin died. He knew that look. The rich man's anger. The precursor to violence or police. "Lo siento, señor." The boy's voice was careful, rehearsed. "I didn't steal anything. I just wanted to make her smile. I'll go now." "Wait." Raphael heard his own voice from far away. "What's your name?" The boy hesitated. "Diego, señor." Liar, Raphael thought. The name came too quickly, too smoothly. A street name. A shield. "Why did you dance for her?" Diego's eyes flickered to Catalina, then back. "I saw her yesterday. Through the fence. She looked like I feel sometimes. Empty. I thought maybe if I danced, she'd feel less empty." "And what do you want in return?" The boy flinched as if struck. "Nothing, señor. I swear. I just... Everyone wants something." "I wanted her to laugh." Diego's voice was quiet but steady. "That's all. I got what I wanted. So I'll go." He turned toward the fence. "Come back tomorrow," Raphael said. The words surprised him. Diego stopped. "Señor." 4 o'clock. "The guard will let you in. If you make her laugh again, I'll feed you before you leave." Catalina made a sound. Not words. Just a small, pleased noise. Raphael met her eyes and saw something he hadn't seen in 3 years, hope. "Gracias, Papa," she whispered. That night, Raphael reviewed the security footage frame by frame. He watched Diego's face, his movements, the way he held himself. And he saw things that nagged at him. The boy moved with training. Not street training. Real training. Dance training. Expensive training. And there was something about his profile. Something familiar. Raphael pushed the thought away. He'd seen Mateo in 1,000 faces over 7 years. This was just another ghost. Except this ghost was coming back tomorrow. Diego came back. For 3 days, he arrived at exactly 4 p.m. He danced. Catalina laughed. Raphael watched from the balcony, arms crossed, calculating. On the 4th day, Raphael was waiting in the garden. "Sit," he said, gesturing to a chair. Diego sat like someone who expected the chair to be pulled away. "Where did you learn to dance like that?" "I taught myself, señor." "That's a lie. Those movements are classical. Contemporary flamenco fusion. I've seen it performed at Teatro Real. Who taught you?" Diego's jaw tightened. "Nobody teaches street boys, señor." "Where are your parents?" "Dead." "Both of them?" "Yes." "How?" "Does it matter, señor?" Raphael leaned forward. "Everything matters. I don't allow strangers near my daughter without knowing who they are." "Then I'll stop coming." Catalina's voice cut across the garden. "No." She wheeled herself closer, face fierce. "Papa, don't. Please. He's the only person who makes me feel alive." The word hung in the air. Raphael looked at his daughter. Really looked. Her eyes were bright. Her posture was straighter. She'd eaten a full meal yesterday for the first time in months. He made a decision that was part calculation, part desperation. "You can stay. One condition. You tell me the truth. All of it." Diego didn't tell him everything. But he told him enough. His mother died of illness when he was 6. His father, here Diego's voice went flat, left when he was 9. He'd been on the streets for 4 years. He survived by dancing at metro stations, sleeping in abandoned buildings, stealing when hunger became unbearable. And the dance training? Raphael pressed. Diego looked away. My mother. Before she died. She was a dancer. She taught me. I remember. Some things. It was a half-truth. Raphael heard it in the pauses. But he let it pass. What he couldn't let pass was the nagging feeling every time he looked at Diego's face. On day 7, Catalina did something unprecedented. She asked Diego to teach her a movement. A simple hand wave, part of one of his dances. I can't move my legs, she said, but my arms work. Show me. Diego showed her. She copied him, clumsy at first, then smoother. They worked for an hour, Catalina in her wheelchair, Diego standing beside her, both moving their arms in synchronized patterns. Raphael watched from the study window, and something cracked in his chest. His daughter was dancing. Dr. Herrera came for Catalina's monthly assessment on day 12. Her muscle tone has improved significantly, he said, checking her reflexes. Her core strength is better. Her mood is transformed. What changed? Raphael told him about Diego. Dr. Herrera was skeptical until he watched them together. Diego would dance, and Catalina would mirror what she could with her upper body. Then Diego would gently manipulate her legs through movements, treating them like dance partners that had forgotten the choreography. This is remarkable, Dr. Herrera breathed. He's doing proprioceptive therapy without knowing it. The laughter relaxes her muscles. The movement stimulates neural pathways. This is exactly what she needs. That afternoon, Raphael made another decision. You're not going back to the streets, he told Diego. You'll stay here. You'll have a room, food, and clothes. In exchange, you work with Catalina every day. Diego stared at him. Why would you do this? Because you're helping my daughter. That's worth more than money. I don't want your charity. It's not charity. It's employment. Do we have a deal? Diego looked at Catalina. She was smiling at him, hopeful. Deal, he whispered. That night, Raphael had the house staff prepare the guest room. When Diego saw it, the bed, the bathroom, the windows that locked from the inside, he stood in the doorway for a full minute, not moving. You okay? Raphael asked. Diego nodded, not trusting his voice. Good. Dinner's at 7. Don't be late. As Raphael walked away, he heard it. A small, choked sound. He didn't turn around. He understood that some emotions need privacy. But as he reached the stairs, he paused. Something was still nagging at him. Something about Diego's profile, his gestures, the way he tilted his head when listening. Raphael pulled out his phone and scrolled to a folder he hadn't opened in months. Mateo's photos. He found one from age 6, Mateo laughing at something off-camera, his head tilted just so. He pulled up the security footage from today. Froze it on Diego's face. The angle was similar. The tilt was the same. Raphael zoomed in on Diego's left collarbone, visible above his torn shirt. There. A birthmark. Crescent-shaped. Distinctive. Mateo had the same birthmark. In the exact same place. Raphael's heart stopped. No. It couldn't be. 7 years. The kidnappers. The shoe. The silence. But the birthmark. His hands shook as he pulled up more footage, comparing angles, features, the shape of the ears, the bridge of the nose. Different. Diego's face was thinner, harder, aged by suffering. But underneath. Raphael ran to the guest room. The door was closed. He knocked, too hard. Come in, Diego's voice wary. Raphael entered. Diego was sitting on the bed, still dressed, as if afraid to believe this was real. Take off your shirt, Raphael said. Diego's eyes went wide. What? Your shirt. Take it off. Now. Senor, I don't. Now. Diego stood, backing toward the window. I'll leave. I'm sorry. Whatever I did. Raphael crossed the room in 3 strides. He grabbed Diego's shoulder and stopped. The boy was shaking. Not from cold. From fear. Deep body memory fear of adult violence. Raphael released him, stepped back, forced his voice calm. I'm not going to hurt you. I need to see your left shoulder. There's a birthmark. I need to see if it's there. Diego's face went blank. Why? Because my son had the same birthmark. And he disappeared 7 years ago. And I need to know if you're him. The room went silent. Slowly, Diego pulled off his shirt. The crescent birthmark was there. Exactly where it should be. Raphael made a sound. Not a word. A broken thing. What's your real name? His voice cracked. Diego, the boy who might be Mateo, stared at him with ancient eyes. I don't remember, senor. They told me my name was Diego. They told me my parents didn't want me. They told me a lot of things. Who told you? The people who took me. Raphael sat down on the bed before his legs gave out. Tell me everything. From the beginning. Diego sat across from Raphael, shirt still off, the birthmark visible like evidence in a trial. I don't remember much from before, he began, voice careful. I remember a room. Blue walls. A window with bars. I remember a woman singing. But I don't remember her face. What else? Raphael's voice was barely a whisper. I remember the day they came. A man told me we were going on an adventure. I was excited. Then we drove for a long time. Then, different houses. Different people. They kept moving me. How many people? I don't know. 6? 8? They spoke different languages. Some were nice. Some weren't. One woman, she was old, she taught me to dance. She said it would help me survive. She said if I could make people happy, they wouldn't hurt me. Raphael's fists clenched. What happened to her? She died. After that, they didn't want me anymore. I was too old, they said. Nobody adopts older boys. So they left me at a torture station. Told me to figure it out. How old were you? Maybe 9? 10? I'm not sure. I lost track of time. And you've been on the streets since then? Yes, senor. Raphael stood, paced to the window. Your mother. The one who taught you to dance. Do you remember what she looked like? No. Just that she was kind. She had soft hands. She sang sometimes. What did she sing? Diego closed his eyes. Then, in a thin, uncertain voice, he sang, Allah Nanita Nana, Nanita Ella, Nanita Ella. Raphael's vision blurred. Isabel used to sing that. To both children. Every night. Do you remember your sister? He asked, voice breaking. I had a sister? Yes. Catalina. Diego turned to look at Raphael, confusion and hope warring on his face. The girl in the wheelchair. Yes. That's my sister. I think so. I think you're my son. I think you're Mateo. The name hung in the air like a question. Diego Mateo stood slowly. I want to believe you. But people have lied to me my whole life. How do I know you're not lying? DNA test. We can do it tomorrow. But I already know. I've been looking at your face for 2 weeks. I've been seeing my son's face in strangers for 7 years. I know the difference between hoping and knowing. And I know. Mateo's face crumpled. Why didn't you find me? The question was a knife. I tried. God, I tried. I searched everywhere. I hired investigators. I went to every children's home, every street, every shelter. But Spain is vast, and you were hidden. They moved you. They covered their tracks. And I failed you. They told me you didn't want me. They told me I was a burden. They told me. They lied. Every word was a lie. I never stopped wanting you. I never stopped looking. Mateo stood there, shaking, 7 years of abandonment and survival warring with this impossible hope. Then Catalina's voice came from the doorway. "Matteo." They both turned. She was in her wheelchair, Senora Vega behind her, both having heard the raised voices. Catalina wheeled herself forward, staring at Matteo's face. "Is it really you?" "I don't know," he whispered. "Do you remember me? You used to build block towers and let me knock them down. You used to steal my cookies and blame the cat. You used to." Her voice broke. "You used to call me Gatalinda, pretty cat." Matteo's eyes went wide. "Gatalinda," he repeated, and the word sounded like coming home. Catalina started crying. Matteo dropped to his knees beside her wheelchair. They reached for each other at the same time, gripping hands like lifelines. Raphael watched his children reunite and felt something he hadn't felt in 7 years. Complete. The DNA test took 3 days to process, though Raphael knew the result before the lab confirmed it. 99.9% probability of paternity. Matteo Moreno. Not Diego. Matteo. But knowing who he was didn't explain how it happened. For that, Raphael called in favors. Private investigators. Former Guardia Civil. People who operated in the shadows where official channels failed. What they found was staggering. Matteo hadn't been kidnapped for ransom. He'd been stolen for an underground adoption network that trafficked children to childless wealthy families across Europe. The ransom demand had been a cover, a false trail. While Raphael scrambled for money, Matteo was already gone, moved through a pipeline that stretched across 3 countries. The old woman who taught him to dance? She'd been part of the network, a groomer, who prepared children to be appealing to potential adopters. When Matteo aged out, boys over 10 were less desirable. They dumped him rather than risk him talking. The network was sophisticated. They had corrupt officials, forged documents, and a reach that extended into hospitals, children's homes, and government offices. Raphael's investigator, a woman named Lucia who had no patience for euphemism, laid it out bluntly. They took at least 40 children over 10 years. Maybe more. Your son was lucky. Most of the kids who aged out didn't survive the streets. Some were trafficked again, into worse situations. Some just disappeared. Who ran it? Raphael asked, voice cold. We have names. Some small players. But the top? That's harder. These people have protection. Money. Influence. I have more of both. Lucia smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Then we'll get them. The arrests took 6 months. Raphael funded the entire investigation personally. He hired lawyers, investigators, and when necessary, applied pressure through his business connections. 12 people were arrested. 3 government officials resigned. The adoption network collapsed. It made national news. Billionaire's son recovered after 7 years ran the headlines. Child trafficking ring exposed. But Raphael didn't care about headlines. He cared about the boy in his house who flinched at sudden movements and hoarded food in his room. Matteo's healing wasn't linear. Some days he was the boy who danced. Other days he was the street survivor who trusted no one. Therapy helped. Time helped. Catalina helped most of all. Ven hermano, she'd say, wheeling herself to his room when he got too quiet. Teach me the bird dance again. And he would. Because dancing had saved him once, and it was saving him again. Catalina's progress accelerated. With Matteo encouraging her, she pushed harder in physical therapy. 6 months after Matteo came home, she took her first supported steps. A year later, she walked with canes. She'd probably never run, the doctors said, but she'd walk. That's enough, she said, smiling. I can dance now. That's all I need. Raphael watched his children dance together in the garden, awkward, imperfect, beautiful, and felt the last piece of his broken heart slot back into place. One evening, as the sun set over Madrid, Matteo found Raphael in his study. I want to find the others, Matteo said. Others? The kids who were taken. The ones who are still out there. Or who made it to the streets like me. I want to help them. Raphael studied his son. 17 now, taller, stronger, but still carrying those old eyes. How? A foundation. Dance therapy for street children. A safe house. Job training. I know what they need because I was them. That's a big undertaking. I know, but you taught me something. Matteo met his father's eyes. You never stopped searching. You didn't give up. Maybe I'm here because one day, when I needed it most, I remembered that someone was looking for me. Maybe other kids need to know that too. Raphael felt his throat tighten. Then we'll do it. Together. They did. The Foundation Matteo Moreno opened 2 years later. It started with one shelter and a dance program. Within 5 years, it had centers in 4 cities across Spain. Matteo ran it with the same intensity his father brought to business, and the same compassion his mother had shown him in fragments of memory. Catalina became the Foundation's public face, a powerful advocate in her wheelchair, then later on her canes, speaking about resilience and hope. And Raphael? He stepped back from his business empire, delegating more, present more. Because he'd learned what his wealth was actually for. Not power. Not status. Redemption. 5 years after Matteo came home, the Foundation held its annual gala. 500 guests. 5 million euros raised. But the most important moment happened in a quiet corner, away from cameras. A young girl, maybe 8, stood nervously by the buffet table. She was freshly arrived at the Foundation's shelter, still wearing the wariness of the streets. Matteo approached slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. Hola, he said softly. I'm Matteo. What's your name? She didn't answer. That's okay. You don't have to tell me yet. He paused. You want to see something cool? Still no response. Matteo stepped back and started to dance. Nothing fancy. Just the bird dance. The one he'd performed for Catalina that first day. The one that started everything. The girl's eyes widened. Matteo became a bird, arms spread, light and free. Then he stumbled deliberately, catching himself with exaggerated surprise. The girl giggled. Just a small sound. But Matteo heard it, and it detonated in his chest like joy. He danced harder. The girl laughed louder. Catalina wheeled up beside them, smiling. Want to learn? She asked the girl. The girl nodded. And there, in the corner of a ballroom full of wealthy donors and powerful people, 3 people danced. One in a wheelchair. One who'd been stolen and survived. One who'd been lost and found herself. Raphael watched from across the room, Lucia beside him. You did it, she said quietly. You got your son back. You broke the network. You saved dozens of kids. No, Raphael said, eyes on his children. He saved himself. I just opened the door. He walked through it. And now? Raphael smiled. Now we keep the door open. For everyone. The music swelled. The girl was dancing now, awkward and uncertain, but dancing. Catalina clapped. Matteo spun her in a circle. And Raphael understood the final truth his journey had taught him. Wealth couldn't buy back what was lost. But it could light the way for others still trying to find their way home. That was enough. That was everything. If this story moved you, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. Stories like Matteo's happen every day, but they don't all end this way. Share this to spread awareness about child trafficking and the power of never giving up hope. Subscribe to Stories by Grandma for more stories of resilience, mystery, and the unexpected moments that change everything. Remember, sometimes the person you're meant to find is also searching for you. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay compassionate, and keep grooving.